Hello, everybody. Thanks again for joining us for the Protractor webinar series for 2017. Today, we're going to carry on with a little bit more information on the Reports Manager. So we're calling this Reports Manager 2. If you've been on the webinars before, everybody knows we try to limit ourselves to about 45 minutes of overview and then leave about 15 minutes for everybody to ask some questions pertaining to today's agenda. All the webinars are recorded. They're posted on the help system under webinars. So you'll always have access to get back to that, get refreshed, and any support documents pertaining to these webinars are posted with them there also. Let's take a look at our agenda for today. We're going to kind of talk, and I've taken the liberty to put forward here, key performance indicators analysis. We thought today, since we spent last webinar talking about, just getting involved with some of the reports, we'd spend a little bit more time on the things that you might want to know on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. So we're going to kind of focus on drilling down on that type of information. Under the vital signs, we're going to go through 3 reports, vital signs by service category. There's a really nice report in there, which is a previous year comparison. So by category, you'll be able to see your sales, your profits, margins, and everything compared to the previous year. There's an invoice summary report that we want to spend a few minutes with. We've got an invoice statistics report. Then there is a standard invoice summary report, number 3. I've just got some cautions that I want to bring out to everybody on that report to make sure you're reading the information right. We're going to do a technician summary and a service advisor summary with some little tweaks in there that I think that everybody will enjoy. I was trying to think about some ways we could really get some interest on this, and my only thoughts lead back to you can only fix what you know is broken. You can only improve what you know offers an opportunity to improve. I'm sure most of you on the webinar today work with scan tools. You deal with bank accounts. There's all kinds of reporting involved. And some of the reports that we have in here carry a lot of information. So again, our goal today is to try and take our reports and narrow them down to some of the information that we feel will provide you opportunities to improve your business. So let's dive right in. I want to start with the vital signs by service category report. So I'm going to go out to the database. We're simply going to click on reports off of the main ribbon. Remember, there are 3 categories of reports, and what I'll do is just open up my reports menu here. There are common reports we talked about last time, which are, let's call them maybe the top 20 reports that we've put together. And one of the main things behind the common reports are they're all set up to print on fit the page. And we've narrowed some of the column information down. My reports, we're going to spend a little bit more time with today, where we're going to show you how to take reports from all reports, save any changes, narrow down the information, and then you would save them to my reports. And we're going to do that with all the reports today. And then all reports. All reports contains all of the canned reports that the development team has put together. I don't know, I'd guess there's probably over 100 reports under these categories. So we want to start with the vital signs by service category. To find that, we're going to go to sales. We're going to open up the vital signs, and let's dive right into vital signs by service category. Something I didn't tell you guys on the last meeting, and let me bring that forward, is if you wonder what that report gives to you, just hover over or do what's called a mouse over, and you'll get a summary of exactly what that report's going to provide. To run the vital signs by service category, simply double click on it. I'm going to get my reports menu out of the way, and then all I need to do is identify what date range I want to look at. Most of the reports we're going to work on today, you can set up virtually any time frame you want. What I'm going to do for our benefit to keep the information simple, I'm just going to look at last month. When I execute the report, Now all the information from last month comes forward, identifying by category. So the standardized report from all reports, as you guys can see on the screen, it's going to give you several columns of information. All of it's very useful. But sometimes we can get lost in all this information, and we might need to, bring out the microscope and just kind of focus in on the things we want to look at. So the second thing we like to do on these reports is narrow the information down. I'm going to go up to Column Chooser. For those of you that were with us last time, you guys have all seen that. Now my Column Chooser, unfortunately, has moved over to my other screen, so let me bring it back over here. And the way we normally start with these reports is, let's just get rid of everything and then simply go in and identify what we want to see on the screen. This is how we can customize the reports to what we want to see. In your case, if you have multiple profit centers, then you would probably want to click on Profit Center. Now, in my case, I've only got one profit center, so I really don't need to do that. I'll leave it up there just for everybody's benefit. I also want to look at my sales by category, the name of the report by category, so all my different service categories are going to pop up. I want to focus here on some of the sales for the last month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my totals. So I'm going to take a look at the total sales, okay? I also want to take a look at my gross profit dollars. So I'm going to bring forward my gross profit dollars. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with dollars for right now. So I'm going to close my Column Chooser up, and here's what I've got. Profit Center, all my service categories, my gross profit dollars, and my total sales. Now I have the ability to rearrange these reports. Keep in mind, I can take any column and move it around to where I want. So personally, I want to see how much did I sell, and then how much profit did I make on each of these categories. Additionally, any of the columns, if you just click on the column, I'm now arranging the report alphabetically by the service category. If I want to see which category brought the most money, then I do ascending or descending. So click on it a second time. So here is the category that brought the most money in for last month. Okay. Now, I always like to look at the totals. I think you guys do too. I want to see by category, but I'd like to see the total sales for all categories. To do that, we use the summary option. So clicking on summary, now this report already has a summary on it, but a lot of the reports have the summary set at the bottom. Personally, I like my totals on top, so I'm just going to switch that around and bring my totals to the top. And when I click on OK, watch right here in the background. By doing that, it now brings my totals up. So here I can see last month I sold $153,904 and I made $100,102 in gross profit. Other things that we can look at here would be to add other columns. So I can play around with this information a little bit. If I go back to Column Chooser, maybe what I want to see is my gross profit margin. So I'm going to click on the gross profit margin, and now you see I recognize my gross profit margin. If I wanted to look at some of the other areas, okay, I have the ability to bring in my parts gross profit. These are really some of the key indicators of the business, okay? And you have the ability now to look at a snapshot for any period of time and narrow down the information that you would like to see. The things that really help me with this, okay, are going to be to look at the margins. So if I wanted to organize this list by margins, I can simply click on the gross profit margin column and you'll see descending, okay, because I've got my lowest profit at the top. If I click on it a second time, then I'm going to have my highest profit margins at the top. Doing this allows me to easily view where my opportunities lie. Two scenarios. Where am I doing okay? Let's not worry about that. Secondly, where do I have an opportunity to improve? So I can look at these charts and identify overall I'm doing 65.4% gross profit, parts, labor, sublet. Okay, so wherever I'm not achieving that, I might want to look into that. And if I look at all these individual category profits, see, I'm all running around 65. If I drop down a little ways, well, dang, what's going on here? Batteries at 47%. Okay, well, you and I, we all know, everybody on the call today, that we usually don't make as much profit on batteries as we would make under transmission, drivability, and brakes because it's a very competitive market. But if I wanted to know more, okay, I bring up my parts gross profit. So I can see actually a 40% profit, gross profit on a battery is actually a pretty good number. But if I wanted to dig into the detail, I always have the ability to do my drill down. If I wanted to look at the individual invoices that created the sales and the profits for the batteries, I can go to invoice detail, and here are the invoices, again, from last month that provides that information. So I'm going to see my sales, my cost, my associated labor, my gross profit dollars, my profit margin, again, all on the batteries, all from last month. So keep your drill downs in mind because that's how you're going to go do a little research in these areas. So here's one of the reports. Now, if this is the way I want this report to lay out, then I can go up and save it, or I can continue to add to it. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and save this report like it is. So I'm going to go up to Layout. I'm going to click on Save Layout. Make sure when you save one of the reports that you click on the Save Parameter Values. And when you run that report, just click on OK. Now it's telling me I've already saved some of these. I was trying to prepare for today's meeting and stuff, so I've saved some of these. So it's just saying, do you want to overwrite the existing file that was there? And I'm going to say yes. So now you see that report that I've customized has now moved up under My Reports, under the same category, same tree of information. So going forward, if I wanted to, next time I want to look at this report, I'm going to bring it up from under My Reports. So double click on the report. I'm going to take advantage of that window, and now you see here's my customized report. It saves my last month or whatever period of time I've selected. I simply execute. There's the report. Now the beauty of this is I've created this report to my liking, and now I can play with it some more. Examples. I'm going to go back to Column Chooser. The same report. I want to get rid of some information or bring some new information in. Maybe I want to go in here and look at my labor gross profit, my sublet gross profit. Maybe I want to look at my sales mix. So I can add or even remove columns from here. And when I save that, I've temporarily made an adjustment. Keep in mind again, I can move these columns around. So if I want to bring my gross profits out here to the end, then I can do that. I can organize the column however I like. Maybe I want all my percentages over here to this side, all my dollars over there. On my sales mix, move it out to the end. And now let's take a look at what this does. On the sales mix, what I want to know is where's my money coming from? So I'm going to click on the sales mix column. A second time, right there, 16.43% of my sales came from drivability. Okay, I had a gross profit of roughly 65%. I did 55% profit on every part. That means I made 55 cents out of every dollar I sold under drivability. I made 72% profit on my labor. There was no sublet under the drivability, and I see that's where most of the money is coming from. And that information just scrolls down. So here we have the ability to do key performance indicators analysis. Where is my business doing good? Where does it offer an opportunity to improve? okay? When I'm done with that report, if I want to save it with this layout, then I would simply go back up and save layout. If I don't want to save these changes, then I don't save the changes. So next time I come in, when I run that report, okay, it's going to go back to the way that I originally saved it. So you can save the reports, and then you can go in and add little things to them if that's anything you would like to do.